All right. So those are already here, great. If not, then they'll have to rely on the recording. Okay, so how many of you have had a chance to look at the feasibility study document that we put together yesterday? Ryan did. I know, Ryan, I saw your assignment too. You reviewed it, Lipsy? Very nice. Nehal? Srinivas? Okay. Did you notice we have impact? We list the risks and the impact between the vision and scope document and the feasibility study. Yes or no? Did you see between the two documents, we've already listed the risks and constraints? Yes or no? All right. So the two templates that we have provided you, like I'd mentioned before, it encompasses all the documents that are pretty much written during the initiation phase of the project. All right. Now these templates, mind you, are very vague and general. Why? Because you should be able to use the very same templates if you were doing a rough project. So sometimes the help text that you see, right, is very generic. It's not a different document. If you are supposed to write a feasibility study document ever, then you should be able to use this template. Okay? Are you clear? Okay. So once we have our cost-benefit analysis, once we have our, let's start at the beginning. Once we've understood our vision and scope, we put that together, we understand the cost benefits, we've done that. We know our feasibility. Based on our feasibility, we put together, or the project manager puts together a project plan, right? And then has the resources assigned for it. Do you think all the deliverables as far as documentation is concerned for phase one are complete? Yes or no? For the initiation phase? Waterfall, yes. Initiation is always waterfall, right? Okay. Now, if you were in RUB project, then it is inception. Then you would have to write a requirements document as well. So we're not going to go by phases here. We're just going to, because we've already had that session, which phase you write what document. Here, we're only going to focus on how to write these documents. You have to figure out, based on the methodology that you are using, which document needs to be filled out in which phase. Is that clear? So the next document that we will learn about is the requirements traceability matrix. And we will follow that with the requirement document. If we have time, we'll also look at the change management document, okay, change request. But I can't promise that we'll be able to finish all three. So today, the first thing that I want to call out is the requirements traceability matrix. Now, this is something that you can build by yourself. You may find some templates, and you may change those templates, or you can build your own. What does it mean? Traceability. Remember, we talked about that eight characteristics of good requirements. You should be able to trace it backwards and forwards, right? Does everyone remember that? Now, requirements backwards. How can you trace them to, trace them backwards? What was the breakdown? You have a mission, right, that you got to meet. You have certain goals and objectives, correct? For the year. Those goals and objectives are broken down by how many projects are you going to do, and hence every project has its own goals and objectives as well. Yes, no, maybe. Now, once you have those goals and objectives, you are trying to build something that will help you meet those objectives, correct? What you build or what you need to build is your business requirements. So when we have objectives or when we write our business requirements, these requirements must meet our objectives. Can I have a requirement that does not meet the objective? Should I really have a requirement? No. That's one of the reasons why we do the must have, should have, could have, won't have, right? Moscow analysis. All right. So I need to be able to trace my requirements. What was my objective? What were my business requirements? And then as I document my business requirements and I analyze them, remember, what do we do? When we say requirements elicitation or requirements gathering, what are the different steps that we must do? Is it simply requirements elicitation, or is it a combination of other tasks and activities? Combination. It is a combination of requirements elicitation, analysis, documentation, and validation. Correct? So once I have elicited the requirements, I must analyze them. The first thing that I do in analysis is what? First, I break it down, classify. Very nice, Nehal. Classify. I look at my business requirement and say, all right, so in order to meet this business requirement, what are my functional requirements? What do I have to code for? What is it that I will not need a code, however, I need to purchase, or I need to keep this in mind, right? I must comply with these rules. I must meet these compliance rules and whatnot, right? So I'm going to classify. First, I'm going to analyze my business requirements, break them down into functional, non-functional, technical, user requirements, etc. And because I've broken them down, that's called classification. Then I'm going to do Moscow analysis and figure out which of these are critical functional requirements, the priority, right? I may also analyze the same and figure out what is the complexity of each of these requirements. Yes, no, maybe. Now, did I explain what is the requirements traceability matrix when we were talking about the documents in our last week? All right. So this is how a requirements traceability looks like. It is a simple spreadsheet. Now, remember, if you were to take notes, right, there are so many, you are in a meeting, everybody's throwing ideas, they're talking about, oh, I wish we want the system to do such and such. Now, if you were to really take notes, right, it would take forever. You may not even get them right. And if it is in the narrative form, no one can review it easily. On the other hand, if you put together a list like the one I have in front of you, now understand, this is just, very high level, something for you to remember by. You're supposed to put in the description, but while you are in a meeting, would it not be easy to just jot down the business requirements, the objectives, the whatnot in this form? Do you see the use, the utility? Do you see any, long stuff that you've got to type in? A lot of, long sentences or anything? No. All right? So this is your cheat sheet. And as I mentioned before, this cheat sheet, typically you start building on this cheat sheet in the initiation phase itself, because that is where you are putting together your business objectives, right? You know your business objectives. You may know your high-level business requirements. It is your cheat sheet. It is by no way a means complete, right? Even when it is a living, breathing document, it is only complete after you have finished your testing. Okay? If you're working for a consulting company, this document, the deliverable, is at the end of the project. You're not necessarily delivering it at the end of each phase of the project. Are you all clear? Ryan, are you clear? Now I have a column for functional requirements. You may also, instead of having functional requirements, you can change it, right? You can have something like, you can change, instead of it being a functional requirement, you may have something like this, requirement type. And here, FR, technical requirement, non-functional requirement, user requirement. Now let's see. Yes, no, maybe. So when I write down my requirements, I don't have to specify that this is a functional requirement here. When I write it down, I can choose that this is a functional requirement, right? I can do, which means that anytime are you all clear so far? Okay? So while you are in a meeting, how you gather your information is up to you. Remember, it is your cheat sheet. You can add or remove columns. The template that you have on your Google Docs, and I'm the one who built it, okay? I do not have this. I do not have business objectives there. Do any of you see business objectives, this column in your template? You do? In the template that you have opened up? Exactly. Some of you see something different, right? Because it is how you want it. It is not necessarily, no necessarily, I mean, you can find a template online, but really it depends on your style. Are you clear? You should know how are you going to gather this information. This template will change. If you have a project where you are buying a software, right? Or then do you have do you have functional requirements in that case? If you're buying a software, no, right? So the columns in your template will change with every project. You must understand, right? What is it? And what is it that you need? Which columns do you need? Same goes. It will also change with the kind of sessions you have with your stakeholders. Now, will you ever get technical requirements while you are in an interview with a business stakeholder? No, right? So you don't necessarily have to have this column. You can have functional requirements, right? Another one for non-functional requirements, another one for user requirements. Yes, no, maybe. So how you build your requirements traceability matrix is up to you. It is very rare, unless you're working for a consulting company, that they have a very set template that they want you to use. And if they have, they typically don't have this. Why? Because consulting companies don't hire somebody fresh out of school or, and brand, without any experience, right? They're consulting, so they always send people with tons of experience. The people who have tons of experience, this is like an assumed, right? Yes or no? Things like, even when we are cooking, right, all of us, if we are new to cooking, we must look at every small step. But those who are chefs, do you think that they look at every small step? Some of the things they know by, they just know how to do it. Correct? Same goes. All right? So this is your requirements traceability matrix. All right? Now look here. For case study 1, what did we say? What were our objectives? If you look, he wants to spread his customer base across US of A, right? So basically, and then the next sentence, he's just reiterating the same. I need help in marketing and selling my products online. So what are the two things? What are his goals? Sell online and online marketing, correct? Exactly. Are these the business objectives here? Now, in order to sell online, what does he need? What did he say? What does he need? He wants to build a website, correct? Right? So if he wants to build a website, that is a business requirement, correct? On the website, I must display products. I've got to build a product repository or a database of all my product information. So I've got to build a catalog. Yes or no? So in order to sell online, I must have these two. I will have more as well, right? I've just listed 2 here. What else do I need to have? Let's go back to our this. What else do we need to have? Do we need to have shipping services? Yes. Well, sell online. In order to sell online, Srinivas, we will need the gateway, right? Without the gateway, you can't sell. Correct? So sell online, or the payment gateway, is part of sell online. But the shipping services, correct? FedEx or UPS, those trucks need to come to your warehouse to pick up your items and deliver them. Is that a business requirement or not? Yes. So will you list that as a business requirement? Yes. Now, when we write shipping services, so Srinivas, you were right, but 10% right. When I sell online, I must provide a level of service, right? Customers should be able to pick whether they want UPS or, ground or second day or whatever, right? Certified, especially because they're buying antiques, correct? So I need the level of service on my website. But I also need shipping services, which means that I need the trucks to come to my warehouse, right? So that part, will I have functional requirements, or will that be a non-functional requirement? Non-functional, guys. The trucks have to come to my warehouse. A schedule must be put together, right? When will they come for pickup? UPS or FedEx or whatever. There are so many different carriers, right? USPS. What time must they come? How much will they charge on a monthly basis? Is it going to be per package that I ship, or is it going to be based on, will I have some, of course those contracts have to be negotiated, right? Yes, the shipping feature on the website will be functional. Level of service, that will be part of build a website, okay? But the contract portion will be the non-functional requirement. The same goes, payment gateway, the functionality, we must build that functionality as part of build a website, right? That customers will be able to pay using their credit cards or wire transfer or whatever it is. But I also need a contract with the secure payment gateway services service company. That's a non-functional requirement. Now, if I have all my stakeholders, if I'm brainstorming, then I may have the development team and the the business stakeholders all in one room. Yes or no? In which case, I may be able to gather my functional, non-functional, technical requirements all at the same time. Yes or no? Okay? Otherwise, not. So this template will change as how you handle your project. Okay? Now, when I'm looking at build a website, when I have to build a website, what are the functionalities of the website? Functionality of the website. Function, what are the different features? Login. Guys, list something that is not on my screen. Absolutely. Customer feedback, right? Submit customer feedback, browse catalog, checkout process. Very nice, Srinivas. Yes, we can have the widget for chat with the customer service rep or call me now. Then there may be links, that's right. So those are the the functional requirements, the features of the website, right? Now, when we are looking at a website, guys, always remember there are two components. One is designing of the website. You know how the website looks like? How will it have tabs or will it have links? Will the logo be on the right or the left, right? What will be the background color? What will be the title bar? What color will the title bar be? Will we have our product search feature at the very top, or will we have it on the side, on the left-hand side? Have you seen how every website is different? It looks different. So we do have a different kind of a BA. We have BAs for website also. Okay? And they are just the designing of the website. So even when we design a website, it requires a code, right? So typically there's a misnomer. Even when I say the product feature should have, the font should be 8 points and it should be Arial and whatnot. Those are design elements, but that BA's job is to gather those. And because for that, even for the font to be changed or color, there's a code written, so even those are called functional requirements. Are you clear? However, I don't want any of you to be confused. Typically, like I said, these are two different roles. Features of the website are different than designing the website. Are you clear? You need a web designer and a web developer. Two different roles, same goal. A business analyst, right, that is working on the functional requirements for the website so that the web developer can build those features, versus a business analyst that works with the web designer so that the web designer can design the website. If you are ever in charge of doing a project like this one, make sure to understand whether your role encompasses both. Are you doing both? Or is it just the features of the website? Everyone clear? So this is where I have broken it down. So build a website is a business requirement, which can be broken down into two pieces, right? The design portion and the development portion. Yes, no, maybe. And within the design portion, look, these are different things that you could be listing, right? On the home page will have this. The, this product page will have such fields. It will be this color, whatnot, all that detail. Correct? So you will go from page, when you're designing the website, you will list it page by page. How does each page of your website looks like? Which of these elements, for example, the navigation bar or the site search bar option or the tab, guys, give me a minute. All right, sorry about that. Is everyone clear? Now, if I unfilter, if I do all, you all clear? Do you see the examples? Do you see how I have, in my description, I am putting down as I hear people, right, talk, I'm writing down what they expect this functionality, how they expect this functionality to work. These are the kinds of questions you as a business analyst should be asking. So when you are in this meeting, right, elicitation, so you said log in. Well, is it case sensitive? What if somebody forgets their password, right? Should we also allow an alternative, right? Can they hit the enter key instead of clicking on the login button, etc., etc. So you ask those questions. That is part of elicitation. And as you get the information, you type up the answers. Now this one I have simply copy pasted here. This is not a true one. All right? I just said you'd have to do the same thing. Is everyone clear so far? So do you now know how to use your requirements traceability matrix? Okay. Now let's look at, once you have started gathering your requirements, requirements, or you've started putting together your traceability matrix. At some point, your requirements are going to be complete, right? You must have finished your elicitation session, correct? You've also done your analysis. Now it is time for documentation. When you are required to document, you will have to go to your, SharePoint or the shared drive, find your template requirements document, and you must fill out the appropriate document, correct? Now remember, for an IT project or a business analyst, the requirements document is our Bible. Okay, this is the most important document that we fill out throughout the project. Sure, vision and scope is important. It is important because it describes or defines your requirements. Sure, feasibility study is important. Why? Because with the help of that, we define or decide who is going to, or how are we going to build these requirements, this solution. All right. However, it is the requirements document that tells us how this product will be built. What will this solution software application do? So the requirements document is it. Once we finish the requirements document, yes, we also write test plans and user guides, right? However, the test plan is to test our requirements. The user guide is to train people on how to use the application that was built based on your requirements document. Okay? So everything revolves around the requirements document. So the requirements document, right, is critical. Now you can get away with an average vision and scope document, right? So long as you understand the scope properly and your requirements are complete, you can get away with, just writing a 2-page vision and scope document. However, if your requirements are incomplete, do you think your product application will do what's supposed to do? No. All right? So requirements document is also very critical, very important interview question. Now, before I go walk you through or I show you how to fill this document, let's talk about the interview questions. The interview question that is typically asked is, walk me through a requirements document. So the interviewer will not ask you to walk him through a functional requirement or a business requirement. He may, but then again he may not. He may just say, walk me through a requirements document. In which case you must assume that this document is a combination of your business requirements, functional requirements, it is a combination of your gap analysis document. It has your to-be process, process flow and diagram, that document, to-be document. It has your use cases as well, the technical requirement section as well. Are you clear? That it is one major document. We're not breaking it down into business and functional and non-functional and whatnot. Is everyone clear so far? If you are asked to walk them through the requirements document, remember, templates change. However, the interview answer does not. If you have a document, if you were to have a document that had all the various sections, then you only need to give me the logical sections, right? Not the customized sections. The logical sections that this document should have. The logical sections are, every document has a title page. Yes or no? Every document must have revision history. Yes or no? Table of contents. Correct? Are we good so far? Next, this is the requirement, this is the document that is picked up by the testing team, by the development team. Are they necessarily, can you guarantee that they have read your vision and scope document? Do they care about the feasibility study? The development team? No. So they have no idea of what is it that you're trying to achieve and why. Correct? So when you write this document, the very first section it will have is the executive summary or background or overview. Are you clear? Where you will summarize your vision and scope, your feasibility, just a summary, right? What were the options that you had evaluated, and what is the option that you're going with? What is the strategy? What will be the high level major features that you're looking from this application? Yes, no, maybe. Why? Because we want to give the developers some context information, right? Once you have written down your executive summary, right, you are supposed to write down the as-is process. How are things being done currently? It can be a part of your summary, but remember, summaries are typically not supposed to be more than half a page, right? You don't want people to just read 10 pages of one section. People lose interest. So summary, keep it brief. Why are you doing this project? What are your goals and objectives, right, etc. What was the strategy that you have agreed upon? And then you go on to the as-is process. How are things being done right now? Remember enterprise architecture? The processes and the tools that are being used by the business unit. Yes, no, maybe. Green, the diagram that had the green background with lots of bubbles on it, enterprise architecture. Right? So you will write down your as-is process. Typically, the as-is process is also elaborated with an as-is process flow diagram. Why? A picture is worth 1,000 words, right? There are many people who would rather just look at the picture and understand the process and read through 2 pages. The process can be a lengthy process, right? So they may just get the rough idea by looking at the as-is process. Remember, the as-is process is not as important as the to-be process, right? So once you have the as-is process and the process flow diagram documented, then the next section that follows is your to-be process. What do you want this new system to do? What will be your new process once you have this new system? Where do you want to be in the future? How do you want to do things in the future? All right, so that is your to-be process. Again, picture is worth 1,000 words. There are some people who are very visual. So for them, you draw the to-be process flow diagram. Are you with me so far? How about the others? Okay. Once you have your to-be process, you are supposed to do a gap analysis. This is where I am right now. This is where I want to be in the future. How can I bridge the gap? What do I need to build to get from the as-is to the to-be? All right? So once you do your gap analysis, what did I say? The outcome of your gap analysis is your business requirements. So once you have finished writing your, that's right, Srinivas, once you finish writing your to-be process, the next section is going to be your business requirements section. Are you clear? Once you have your business requirements, you must analyze those business requirements, right? Prioritize, classify, whatnot. So you will list your functional requirements, the must have, should have, could have, your non-functional user, technical, whatnot requirements in the appropriate sections. Yes or no? The functional requirements will be related to every business requirement, right? Are you with me so far? So you have analyzed, you have prioritized, you have classified everything. Now for every functional requirement, we talked about hybrids, right? Every company, even irrespective of which methodology they're using, they want to write use cases following the object-oriented approach. We also talked what is the use case document, yes or no? In our last session, in our last class last week, or in one of the previous sessions last week, right? So you will then have to write use cases for each of the functional requirements that you have listed in your document. Why? Use cases describe how this functionality is going to be used by the user. Okay? It is for the functionality only. Use cases are not for non-functional requirements, technical requirements, and whatnot. It is only for functional requirements. So you must have a use case per requirement, functional requirement. When you write your use cases, you will also have to elaborate them with use case diagrams. Are you clear? Once you have all your diagrams, pretty much you're done with your requirements, right? You wrote your business requirements, you broke them down into functional, non-functional, technical. For every functional requirement, you also wrote down your use cases, correct? All right. Next section is reports. Now reports, guys, even though we want reports, this is more for us to be able to evaluate how is the system doing than it is not a functionality of the application. unless the application you are building also has a reporting feature, right? The website, does the website have a reporting feature? Or do you run your reports on the data that you've accumulated on the website? Which is it? Run the data, right? So in this instance, the application that you're building does not have a reporting feature, right? You just gather the data and you do some data analysis. Yes or no? In order for you to do that data analysis, what kind of reports do you need? That is a function, or that is a job that the data resource group or the reporting group does for you. You don't get those reports out of the application. All right? On the other hand, there are some applications that will allow you to do reports. They have the reporting tool capability. All right? And if that were the case, then that would become a functional requirement. How does this tool work? What are the different kind of reports that it will allow you to build? Are you clear so far? Do you see the difference? Once you have listed your reports, if you need any, from a different group of people, which is data resource group, then you come to the sections which are glossary, right? Glossary, what does it mean? For you, a customer could be people like you and me, right? We're going to the website and we're making a purchase. If I were to build an application for the HR department, then the customer in my instance is internal. It is the HR folks, right? HR team. So the definition of customer varies project by project to project. Yes or no? I may also have used certain acronyms throughout my document. Yes or no? So glossary is where I am going to define. It is the data dictionary. All right? It is the dictionary. This is what I mean. This was the term I used. This is the definition of this term. Are you clear? Once you have your glossary, then you come to the sections, appendices, and reference documents. Finally, you end your document with the required sign-off. That is your sign-off page. You see that there is a flow to the document. It goes in a very nice logical manner. It does not matter whether the template that you use from Zerentech or if you get it from online, or the template that is being used by the company that you are working for, whether it is following that logical manner or not. Why? Because one, in an interview, they want to see if you have memorized it or if you are giving a logical, analytical answer. So I always suggest, because I'm not great at memorization, okay, never could. So I always look for a chain. I want to see how is this process working from start to finish, right? It should flow seamlessly. And that is the answer I'm giving you. You don't have to memorize these different sections. If you understand the process logic, then you will remember the different sections. Okay? Are you clear so far? Each and every one of you. All right. So now that I have told you how to walk me through the requirements document, let's look at the requirements document. Again, remember the expectation that it will be exactly how I explained it to you. Maybe unrealistic. This is a template, right? Every PMO, every manager is supposed to be customizing it to fit their needs. So it is a very generic template, okay? There are sections where it will match what I just described. There are sections that it will not. It may have more subsections and sections, right? We always want to list the key important ones. All right. Requirements document. Section 1, executive summary. So, let us start with you, Ryan. For case study 2, what should the executive summary say? Ryan?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear now.
Okay. Case study 2. I just have one question about that before I start.
Okay.
So we're supposed to assume that we are a company that needs like the use of CyberFridge.
That's not what it is. Read your assignment.
I'm going to case study 2 now.
Here it is on your screen now.
Oh, right. Okay, so case study 2 should
Ryan, what do you understand case study 2?
Case study 2 is building a software for recipes. Let me pull up my business scope for that. All right.
Do you need any help, Ryan?
I'm just trying to get to my business scope document that I wrote for this one.
Okay.
So the executive summary, first off, it should list the requirements that CyberFridge needs to implement this the software for recipes that they have or that they want. So it should definitely talk about that. The system should compare recipes to items in the refrigerator, be able to let the user know which items are in their refrigerator, use the refrigerator's inventory to create grocery lists, be able to set popular recipes based on the selection rate of those recipes, and allow for updated recipes based on the user specifications.
Ryan?
Yes.
You go in the executive summary. Remember, this is the first time that the developers and the SQA team are reading any document for this project. Are you simply going to jump into the requirements in your executive summary?
Okay, no.
Okay, what would you write in that section?
Okay, I would say CyberFridge is looking to build a software that they can implement in their existing fridges. This will allow the use of a recipe system to determine what recipes users may or may not like to fix based on the items that reside in their kitchen. That's kind of what I have as a background or overview that would be necessary.
Okay. All right, Ryan, you can mute yourself. Srinivas, how would you write your executive summary? I can't hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have not reviewed this one, so I need to.
That's okay. It is on the screen right now.
This area which will allow you to use a recipe system to determine what recipe you would like to fix. Let you move the items to make it preside in your kitchen. This is a system, cyber fridge system, where it will classify the recipes in the fridge according to the.
Not how you should start your executive summary. Guys, what is your executive summary?
Basic objective.
Okay, basic objective, but do you just launch into it, Srinivas?
Yeah.
Right. Mute yourself. Guys, executive summary is like your introduction. It is the introduction to this project for many people. Yes or no? How do you introduce people? Have you seen at the moderators and when you at the talk shows, do they just launch into so and so and he's done this? Is that how they go? How do you introduce people? How do you introduce concepts? You've got to give a background. That's right. What is the background for Cyber Fridge? The very first line is telling you the background. Cyber Fridge is an intelligent and productive refrigerator that uses internet connectivity, vision, and mechanical systems to automate some of the routine tasks revolving around the refrigerator. Yes or no? Next, these routine tasks are automated by creating a specific recipe agent called as Clifford Automated Recipe Agent, which will primarily serve the purpose of electronically making a shopping list and telling and suggesting recipes to customers based on items that are in the refrigerator. Thus reducing, or whatever it is, right? What does it say? There's more stuff, right? How it benefits the users. Yes or no, guys? Brian. I don't want any of you to launch into the requirements. You must know how to get into that subject, right? That's very abrupt. That's not how it goes. Remember, communication, guys, communication. It must be seamless. What are you trying to build? Care is part of Cyber Fridge. Cyber Fridge has different other components too, right? The fridge itself must also be put together. It must have the space for this microchip CARA to go in, right? It's like your iPhone. You must develop the iPhone, but you also must develop the software that goes on that SIM card. Yes or no? So So even while you're developing the SIM card, right, that's a project. Do you not have to describe your iPhone? How it is how the SIM, this iOS 4 on that SIM, on that microchip, how is it a piece of your iPhone, a component? Now, who would like to give me the executive summary, a complete executive summary? Who would like to try? Okay, Nehal, go ahead.
The refrigerators we use today are only capable for storing items, but CyberFridge is an intelligent and productive refrigerator that uses internet connectivity, vision, and mechanical systems. As one special feature of the intelligent refrigerator, we want to build an automated recipe system that will have a database of recipes. This will help the consumers, the users of the refrigerator, and make their lives easy, as everyone's life today revolves around the refrigerator. This system will allow the users to identify the items that they have in the refrigerator and will also determine what are the missing items, and accordingly will generate a shopping list for the users.
Okay, very nice. Nehal, you can polish it up, but yes, the summary is fine. Okay? Everyone clear? Brian, Srinivas? Okay, go ahead. I'm going to read yours right now, okay? So Lipsy, because she can't talk right now, she's in noisy background. So she's written, CyberFridge project primary focus is to use internet connectivity, vision, and mechanical systems to create an intelligent and productive refrigerator. We need to focus on automation to allow for the main project to use recipe system known as Clifford Automated Recipe Agent. This will primarily serve the purpose of making a shopping list and usability. The main focus is to enable the database to update new recipes at the user's discretion. Okay. Lipsy, this is great. I want you to go through. I know you were typing real fast, but polish it up a little bit, okay? All right. Next, while we are writing these requirements, are there any assumptions that we have made? Any restrictions or limitations, constraints that we are aware of? There is a difference between assumptions, business rules, and business requirements. Assumptions are things that we are assuming. We don't know for sure if it is a requirement or not. We're assuming that this is already happening. If it is not true, if that is not true, then it becomes a requirement. If it is, if your assumption is, if we have a problem with it, then it becomes a project risk. Are you clear? Now, when we say assumptions, right, for this requirement or for the project, what are we assuming here? Remember, these assumptions are different than the assumptions we had on the feasibility study. Those assumptions were assumptions that we made for the feasibility study, right? Yes or no? Okay, so what can be our assumption here? For case study 2, what can be the assumption? Exactly. Very nice, Nehal. Internet connection. So the assumption, are we talking about building a new kind of internet connection for Kara? Or are we saying that it will use the internet connectivity? It will just have internet connectivity. It will be connected to the internet. Use existing, right? So we are assuming that the, whatever internet connection that you have at your home, that will work for the cyber fridge as well, right? It is compatible. You are not none of your requirements here says that you have to have a different kind of internet connection, right? Your assumption can also be that all internet connections excepting for dial-up will work for the cyber fridge. Yes or no? Right? Because that is not your requirement. Is there anywhere that we say that we are going to have a new kind of internet connection? We have DSL and broadband. Is there anything else besides those? No, it says it will use the internet connectivity. So whatever internet connection you have at your house, it will be able to use the very same. Right? Is everyone clear so far? Now again, another assumption. Think about it, guys. Vision system. What kind of vision system are we talking about? What kind of vision systems have you seen at the grocery store, at the supermarket? Have any of you done a self-checkout? It could be a touch screen. Very nice, Ryan. Right? Have you also seen an OCR, object character recognition software? Any of you have a toll tag on your car? Have you taken the highway where you had to go through or cross an easy pass or those sensors? Yes. You know how those work? There's a sensor. Yes. What does it do? Sensor and a camera. Very nice. So that sensor first tries to read that little barcode that you put on your windshield, right? And based on that barcode, there's a sensor it picks up and tries to verify, does this exist somewhere? Are you going at 70 miles or 80 miles per hour on that toll road, right? So at the same time, they have a camera that takes a picture of your license plate. And then the object character recognition software will understand or will figure out what was your license plate number. Yes or no? So if the system was able to pick up your sensor and your toll tag number, right, account number, then great. Then it deducts it takes away charges your account for that much in toll tag, right? If it doesn't find your account, then it reads your license plate. It recognizes each character and then looks up that license plate number in their database. When it finds you in the database, it checks to see if there is an account number for you, and it will apply your tag or toll to that account. Yes or no? You are aware of it, right? in case you don't have that, if you don't have an account and you don't have an account, the sensor was not able to find that tag on your windscreen, and they couldn't look up your license plate in their system, then they send the mail to you, right? They also send a picture of your license plate. Any of you, have you come across that situation? That they say that you are supposed to pay $5 or whatever your bill is? Yes or no? Now, is that a vision system or not? Even at the supermarket, the barcode reader, have you also done a self-checkout where you place the item, it sometimes can recognize the item that you have bought by just taking a picture and have any of you seen CSI or any of those detective serials? Yes, so if you have a photograph and then they run that photograph of the person through the database, right? Same goes. There are some supermarkets where you put the item, even if it's a vegetable, you put it on the scanner, and it takes a picture. You may not know it. It happens in split second, and it identifies, oh, this is a cauliflower. Yes, no, maybe. Vision systems. Same applies. Mechanical systems. At the self-checkout counter, when you place your item, does it not take a weight of how many pounds of, onions, or how many pounds of fruit, apples or oranges, whatever it is that you're buying, how many pounds is it? Is there a weight or a scale? Is that a mechanical system? The fridge itself, the refrigerator that you have at your house, is that a mechanical system? Now, are you building any of these systems? The vision systems or the mechanical systems? No. Is that or not an assumption that these are pre-built? And whatever was built is going to be used. Whatever is in the market, whatever technology we already have, that we will be using the same. Are these not assumptions? Yes or no, guys? Is that an assumption or not? Okay. So we know what assumptions are, right? Everyone clear? I've given you tons of examples, right? Next, business rules. All right? Let's think about a totally different application. Let's not talk about cyberfish. We'll come back to cyberfish in a minute. Have all of you ever called customer service? Ever? It doesn't matter whether it is for JC Penney or if it was for your supermarket or Best Buy. It doesn't matter which, for your electrical company. Okay. You do realize, right, that there is a software, correct, that routes all the phone calls that they receive. There's a message that is being played as you are on hold. And then, yes, and then as the reps or the customer service representatives, as they become free, the calls are routed. It's a software, correct? All right. So the routing right, of the calls in a queue to the next available representative is the feature of the software. Correct? Now, your call center, have you sometimes gotten the message that our normal business hours are 8 a.m. Eastern Time to 7 p.m. Eastern Time or any of that? When that happens, if you call at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, right, do you think the feature will still work? Will it put it in a queue and route it to the representative? No. Why? Because this software works between, the routing software works between 7 a.m. to or 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever the time limit is. That's when we have call center representatives sitting at their desks and are available to take the calls. So the business hours that I have specified is my business rule. Yes or no? These are the rules when this software will work. Are you clear? Let's talk about case study 1. Have you come across websites where you don't have to register or create a login and you can simply make a purchase, right? Without ever having to log in or sign in. There's no functionality. They don't care for it. You don't have to create an account ever. Have you come across such websites? Yes or no? No? You're probably going to the department stores. Okay, let's make it even simpler. Are you able to, at some stores, are you able to make a purchase without having to, or do certain activities without having to log into your account? No, Nehal, it's not necessary. There are some places that you must register. For example, if you want to do something with your bank, you must register, you must have an account. Okay? However, to make a purchase from JCPenney or from Amazon, you can check out just as a guest. You don't necessarily have to log in. JCPenney especially, Amazon, yes, they either you must be a registered user, if not, you must register, right? But try JCPenney. You can select checkout as guest. All right? Now, whether we want that login feature, what is our business rule? Will we allow a guest to check out, right? A random person to just come and make a purchase so long as his credit card is valid, the information is correct? If we will allow that to happen, that's a business rule, versus whether I will only allow registered users to make a purchase. So if people are not already registered, they must register in order to make a purchase, like for example how Amazon works nowadays. Is that an example of a business rule. Shadab, Srinivas, and Ryan. Okay? Everyone clear? Difference between assumption and business rule? You will have to write some business rules for Cyber Fridge project. Now, business requirement. What is it that we are trying to build? What is our requirement? So there's a difference between business rule and business requirement, right? Sometimes you may have to develop your business rule. So your business rule can also be your business requirement, but not necessarily. Your requirements are based off your business rule, okay? Very rarely you have a rule and you have to develop that rule as well. Is everyone clear? Okay. So back to our template. So we've talked about assumptions, restrictions. Are there any restrictions, right? Sometimes there are things that you cannot do based off some restrictions in design, right? See, you are using a certain kind of environment, application, software, right? You may have certain restrictions. You may not have certain resources available, right? So a constraint as it pertains to your requirements document. Are you clear? So we are not writing restrictions or constraints for the project, but for your requirements document. For the requirements, it has to be pertaining to your requirements. All right? Section 3 is an additional section. It has the data flow section. Okay? Data. How is data flowing? What are the inputs and what are the outputs? Typically, you will not see this section in any of the templates that you use in your real life. I'd like to say 80 to 90% of you will not find this section anywhere. Alright? However, it also says you may add an activity, workflow, or sequence diagram instead. If you use any of these diagrams, you must change it. If it's not your data flow, then you change it. If you're putting together an activity diagram, you must change it to activity flow. All right? Now, I have not taught you UML modeling. So you can skip this section altogether. However, if we were to think about data, right, in our Cyber Fridge, where is the data coming from? Give me the inputs and outputs. What kind of data do we have in our Cyber Fridge, and where is it coming from, and what is the output? Recipes. What is the input? Where are the recipes being? How are we getting these recipes? No, the system can't put together its own recipe, right? Based on the items in your refrigerator. And it's like, does it have that kind of intuition as to what can you build? Yes, Srinivas, very nice. So you can download the recipes because we have internet connectivity, right? You can manually add a recipe. Yes or no? So how are we building this recipe database? Right? What is the flow? User or website, correct? From the user, from the website to the recipe database. That is how the data flows, doesn't it? So again, not that it is difficult, but I haven't taught you this section, so you can disregard it. Now output, this was the input. Output, what is the output? Output is also the items needed, right? It is the recipe. Output is also seen by the user. So I've stored it. We have stored the recipe. I can add it. I can manually add them. I can download them. And eventually, I will view these recipes, correct, on the screen. So from my database, through the system, to the user, right? Case study 1, products database, right? So where are we getting, what is the data flow? From the database to the website. Website is pulling that information, right? And displaying it to the customer. Is that the data flow? Is that the data flow? On the other hand, transactions. When I place an order, customer is typing up, is filling out the details, right? Transaction details. That is being stored. That is, he's doing it on the website, correct? Application. So from the customer to the application, and then what does the application do? It transmits that information to the database. Yes or no? Next, you come to your section 4, which is customer workflows. Now, if you read through it, what does it say? What does it say on your screen, Nehal? What does section 4.1 say? Ryan, what does yours say? Section 4.1. Lipsy. As is. Now, business use case diagram is the same as your business process flow. All right? Different terminology, but means the same thing. So on my template, I have simplified it. You can simplify it too. 4.1 as is. 4.2 to be. Are we still going with the same, when I described what is, or, I walked you through the requirements document, are we still on track? Yes. So for as is, how are things being done for case study 2? How are things being done right now? When you want to put together when you want to know what items and when you want to make a shopping list, what is your as is process for creating a shopping list? Nehal, what is your current process of creating a shopping list? That's right, Srinivas, it's a manual process, right? What do you do? Don't tell me manuals, the details. As I hear a lot of disturbances, there's somebody on the call that is not fit. dialing in using a landline or a cell phone? Okay, call in user 7. I don't know who is dialing in, but there's somebody who has dialed in and I just muted you. Nehal, what is the manual process? What is your process of putting together a shopping list today? Do you or do you not put together a shopping list?
Yes, we actually locate what items we have in the refrigerator, and then based on what we want to make, we identify what is missing, and then we list down the missing items. That is how we create a shopping list.
Okay, very nice. Once you have Kara, think, right? Visualize. If you had Kara, what will your process be? Think as a visionary, Nehal. What will your to-be process become?
Can you repeat? Once we have
Once you have Kara, you're building Kara, right?
Oh yeah.
What envision your new process for creating a shopping list to be?
The new process will be that I just have to select a recipe, and automatically the agent will identify if I have those items or not, and if I do not have any items, it will generate a shopping list for me automatically.
Very nice. Now, let me give you an example, one example of an assumption here. All right, I told you you must write your own, but I'll give you one example. Do you store everything in your refrigerator? How about flour and beans, right? Lentils or whatever it is? No. So what is the assumption that we are making in this instance? If it is not in our cyber fridge, then that item is not available. We don't have it. Can I track something? Can I ask Kara to track something that I have stored in my pantry? No, right? Kara can only work within the cyber fridge. Can it work outside of your cyber fridge? No. It can only track items within your cyber fridge. Now, you can have so many different items, right, in your pantry. There's no way for Kara to know what else you have. And why would you waste time just because I have 10 different kinds of pasta, right? Packets of pasta. Do I want to store it all and type it in my cyber fridge that, oh, I also in my pantry, I also have this kind and this kind and this kind. Do you want to do that? Seriously? No. So if you are looking at a recipe for macaroni and cheese, what is the assumption that Kara is making? It may find cheese, it may find the butter, it may find the milk, anything that you keep in your refrigerator. But when it comes to your macaroni, what is the assumption that Kara is making? It is assuming that you don't have macaroni, right? Or how many cups or whatever it is that you need. Yes or no? So do you know how to write your as is and your to be process flows? For every process, right? So if we have, it's not just that we are making shopping lists, it's also suggesting a recipe. So how do we do that right now? Is there a process for it? If there is, we must write down what is the process. How do we determine what recipe to make today? Right? It's a manual process. I look at the ingredients that are in my refrigerator and then I thumb through a cookbook, right? Or I do a web search based on one of these ingredients, right? On the other hand, if I had Kara, then Kara looks at all the ingredients and it may, instead of it doing, there could be 4 things in my refrigerator, right? I may have eggs, and I may have broccoli, and I may have, something else. I may have some meat. I may have some tofu. It can give me 15 different options, from omelets all the way down to something very exotic, right? All the recipes that have one or more than one of these ingredients that are in my refrigerator. Yes or no? So you will write down your as-is and to-be processes. Again, I have not taught you how to draw the diagrams. So you can skip the diagrams for now, but you can write down your processes. Yes, are you with me so far? Notice, section 5 is your business and functional requirements document. What did we say? Once you have your as-is and to-be, what are you supposed to do? Gap analysis. The outcome of the gap analysis is your business requirements, right? So you will write all your business requirements. Now, if I were to go back to my requirements traceability matrix, and when I am saying I need to have a website, I need to sell online, it means that I must design a website and I must develop a website. Would that be business requirement 1.1 and 1.2? If you are responsible for both sections, the design element as well as the functionality? Yes, Nehal, you would. If you are responsible for both, yes. Okay? Alright, so let's talk about, we want to be able to, we are talking about the functionality, right, of the website. So we have to develop the website. Functional requirement 1.1.1, right? The numbering, always remember, we have, if you go back to your requirements matrix, business objective, right? 1. Business requirement becomes 1.1, yes or no? If I have different functional requirements for each of these business requirements, then it becomes 1.1.1, correct? Let's look at search for products. Can I do it multiple ways? Oh, sorry. Can I search for products multiple ways? Yes. If I were to break down search for product, then what would be the sub-functional requirements? Would it become 1.1.3.1 and 1.1.3.2 or something else? Right? How? Search for product. I can do a keyword search. JC Penny, have you seen the keyword search? I can type in skirts. I can type in, whatever, designer name. Right? Have you also noticed that you can type in an item ID? Yes or no, guys? I can also search for a product by what? What other ways can I search for? By browsing through, yes or no? Categories, that's right, browsing through the categories. Are you all clear on how the numbering will work? Okay, so we go back to our requirements document. Now in this requirements document, we don't have a separate business requirement section and a separate functional requirement section. what they have done here is that we have business requirements, and for every business requirement, as you analyze, you write down your functional requirements. Are you clear? Next, they have combined, what did I say in one of my slides? The quality of service requirements, a combination of all your technical and non-functional and user requirements, is also sometimes referred to as your quality of service requirements. Correct? Do you remember that slide? Look here, data storage. Read the help text. What is it saying? What data, how much data, for how long do you need to store this data? Right? You must provide this information. Why? Because based on this information, the development team, the IT manager, will decide what kind of memory or what kind of data storage he wants. How big or small the database will be. Yes or no? Is that a technical requirement, a user requirement, a functional requirement, or a non-functional requirement? Technical requirement, very nice. Data de-identification. Do you want to validate? How do you identify? I'm sure all of you, Ryan, and there's like, I'm sure all of you read, right? There's another Justin Bieber who is a lawyer, at least 20 years older than the Justin Bieber, the teenage pop star, correct? Can any one of us guarantee that our names are unique, that no one in the world can have the same name, first name, last name combination? Ryan, how about you? No. So how do we identify that this is Ryan Smith? Ryan, in your case, how do we know? How do I de-identify you? There must be a primary key, a unique identifier associated to you, right? What is that in your case? What is it? That's right. It could be a social security number. It could be a birth date. It could be a combination of the two, right? It could be your email ID. For an Amazon account or a JCPenney account, do you have to put in your social security number or date of birth? No. But your de-identification or your primary key unique identifier for a JCPenney account can be a combination of your email account and your phone number, right, or your zip code. Is that a technical requirement or is that a non-functional user requirement? Technical requirement. Srinivas, non-functional, typically, all right, in the industry, we're talking about processes. For example, I want to purchase this software. So the purchasing department must actually purchase this, right? Or legal department, right? There is a contract that must be signed. That is what we refer to as the non-functional requirement. Okay, Srinivas? Because it's not a functionality that the developer must develop. It's not a technical requirement, right? Not software, hardware related. It's a contract that must be signed, right? That must be put together. It's not a user requirement. It's not an implementation requirement. It's a contract that you need to sign, that the legal department must put together, review, and then they must come agree to the terms and sign off on it. Are you clear? Data validation. Have you noticed that when you are trying to register right? It's asking you to write in your email address and or put in a password, and then it says confirm password. Is that not validation? If you're when you type in your confirm password, it does not match, does it throw an error message saying it does not match? Or places where you are supposed to confirm your email address and your email address is wrong, do you see that error message? When you're trying to ship something to a residence and the system can't find that residence, have you seen an error message saying this is not a valid US address? Do you think we need to tell the developer that this is the validation that we want? It will validate on these fields. Is that a functionality or is it a technical requirement? It's a technical requirement. Very nice. Okay? How many people who will have access to the data or to the application? What is their role and profile? Right? What functionalities will they have access to? Do I need to give this information to the deployment team or the development team so that the development team can develop those different profiles, and later on, once the application is ready, that those people on the list can have access to this application? Do you think I need to provide this information? It's a technical requirement, isn't it? It's in the gray area. It could be a non-functional requirement as well, right? That's the reason why quality of service requirements, right? It's been giving this broad header, generic header. User friendliness. Do you go to a website that is not user friendly? Right? User friendliness, reliability. So usability is a user requirement, isn't it? When we say usability, would you go to a website that takes about 5 minutes to load a new page? Never, right? So what is it? What are your standards? When you say user friendly, right? Have you seen, there are some websites that say checkout is using the 3-click system? Amazon, checkout in 3 clicks, right? That's their motto, isn't it? Simplify the checkout process so that it's not cumbersome for the user, customer. Sometimes customers can get frustrated just trying to check out. Yes, no, maybe. So when we say you've got to, user friendliness, you've got to describe it. Oh, it has to be in 3 clicks. Oh, it must be, every page must be, we must be able to load this information in less than 1 second. Are you clear? Measurable. Reliability. Reliability means how reliable is this software going to be, this application? Is it going to crash every now and then? How many times is it going to be out of service? Right? How accurate is it going to be? If I've got to rely on this data, how accurate is it going to be? Remember, it's not just related to your website, right? It could be anything. It could be that OCR. It could be, you could be building an application for the energy grid. Do you want voltage fluctuations or frequency fluctuations in your house? Would your appliances and all not, burn because of that? Do you not want this application that you're building for the electrical grid, energy grid? Do you not want it to be reliable, accurate? How accurate? Are you looking at 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places? Do you think NASA is looking at 2 or 3 decimal places, or is it sometimes looking at 16 decimal places? Maybe more, God knows. Do you think that can be a huge impact depending on the kind of application you're building? Number of bugs. My acceptance criteria, right? Yes or no? Okay? Performance, same goes. How should the performance be? How fast or slow? Right? So you go through all of these, and then you come to some sections. Purchase components. Srinivas, this is where we were talking about, right? I need some cables. I need some nails. I need a room to install my server. I need a warehouse. Not a technical requirement, is it? That's right. Okay? Licenses. How do you get licenses? Do you not have to go through the legal department? Trademark, legal, copyright, and other notices. Non-functional requirement. Documentation. Right? Applicable standards, design standards, testing standards that you want to follow. What kind of requirement is that? Is that a technical requirement? No. Non-functional requirement. Is everyone clear so far? So here we have all our requirements done, all different kinds. In the next section, we are writing the use cases, use case per functional requirement. So if you have 32 functional requirements, including all the sub-functional, how many use cases are you supposed to have? 32. Okay? I will teach you how to write use cases. So you can ignore this section for now. That is what we will learn in our next class. Reports. What are the different reports you need? What should each report be? What is the criteria for each report? So if I'm selling stuff online, right? I can have a pipeline. Pipeline is what? If you have items in your cart, this is what I can potentially sell to you, right? It's my pipeline. Yes, no, maybe. Revenue. If you've already bought from me in this month, then that is revenue for me this month, isn't it? So there can be different reports. Now when I say, if I want a report for this month, do I want it from the first of the month, or do I want it from the first business day of the month until the first business day of the next month, right? When I say I want revenue, then when I say revenue, what does it mean? Purchase order number, right? It must be sales. The sales amount should be not null, right? And then, of course, and there should be a credit card number or something. Yes or no? Can I say that yes, we've sold this without a payment information? If I don't have payment information, have I really sold this item? So what is the report criteria? All right. Are there any special rules or conditions? Do you want it by different products or categories? Do you want it by the payment type? This information. Yes or no? In this report, what are the different fields you want? For example, revenue information, right? I may want to know when was this purchase made, the date. I want to know who made this purchase, first name and last name of the customer. All right, there's somebody again who is dialing in using a landline or a cell phone, and I'm going to mute you because I can hear a lot of static from you. I may also want to know what items you purchased or the total number of items you purchased. I may want to know the total amount, dollar value of your order. I may also want to know how did you pay for this order. So these are the different fields I want on my report, correct? Now I can have this information many ways. I may want the order number first, followed by these are reporting requirements. Do you have, if you are selling online, is that a functionality of your website? Do you see that functionality, Nehal, on the website anywhere? Or Ryan? Ryan, do you see a reporting functionality anywhere on your website, on any website? Is that a business requirement? Remember, the business requirement is for the application that you're building, right? These reports are for you to do some analytics. All right, Ryan? All right. So these fields, I can have them in any sequence, right? I can have the order number first, followed by the name of the customer, right? Or I can have the date the order was made first, followed by the order number, right? So it can be any sequence. What is the sequence that you want? You must gather that information as well. So this is a reporting requirement, not a business requirement, okay? It is, or even if sometimes it is a business requirement, but it's not a functional requirement. Are you clear? You have this report, you may want this report to be grouped by or sorted by certain criteria, right? I want all the sales grouped by weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 of each month. I may want to group them by a certain product type. I may want to group them by a certain payment type. Yes, no, maybe. And within each group, I may want to have the information in ascending order by the field customer name. I may want it sorted by the date the order was placed. Yes? Yes or no? What kind of totals and subtotals do I want? Do I want a total per group? Do I want a total per month? Do I want a total per week? What is it? Do I want this information in a graph form? Have you seen pie charts and bar graphs and line charts? All the different kinds of graphs. Do you remember learning them in, in high school or middle school, whenever? If you want it in a certain graphical format, in a certain graph, then what is going to be on your x-axis, what's going to be on your y-axis? What's the scale? You must specify that as well. If you have a sample, this is how it's going to look like, then you must put that sample in. And then you come to the appendices section and reference documents. Is everyone clear so far? Absolutely. So if you have 10 different reports, you must fill out these sections 10 different times, one for each report. Okay, Neha? All right. Is everyone clear on how to write your requirements document? So, I am looking at who submitted what documents. I see Nehal has posted for case study 1, right? Shadab posted for case study 1, and Ryan. Where are the other assignments? Okay. So I heard one from Lipsy. How about the others? I know, I'm looking at yours, Srinivas. I know who submitted what. All right, I'm going to give you all a 15-minute break, and then we are going to review the assignments. Now remember, today we do vision and scope and feasibility study. We are not coming back to any more. We will not review any more assignments on vision and scope. Next Saturday, we will review your requirements document, requirements traceability matrix and requirements document. You will have assignments. Okay? All right, so you have 15 minutes. It is 13 past 11 in my system clock right now. At 11:30, we will reconvene. All right, I am going to put myself on mute. I desperately need a glass of water. I've been talking for a good almost 2.5 hours. So I'm going to put myself on mute, and I will be back in 15 minutes, okay? All right. everyone back? Nehal, if it is not complete, I will not check, okay? Fill this out, okay, Nehal? It must say draft or final document. I must have 2 entries on it. Draft created and final version. Okay. Notice, what's your font here? Arial 11. What's your font here? Actually, it says Arial 11, even though it looks a little different. So in that case, it's fine. So in this background, Nehal, I want you to introduce the company or the department that is asking for this website, okay? Always say, let's assume that our company name is antiquearts.inc, right, or Antique Arts Inc. So we want to say after this, after what you mentioned, I would add in the next line, Antiques Inc. or Antique Arts Inc. would like to go the above route or would like to expand its customer base by selling online globally. Okay, or something to that effect. This is very nicely done. There is no allow you, right? Allow the business or the customer, right? It's always you're writing this document on behalf of your customer, right? So there's no you and I in here. So you must change all of this. But the information is correct. Now, in addition to this information, what does this say? Nehal, what are your project success criteria here? What are project success criteria?
Like I just left a note in the end saying that you will be able to define your success criteria depending upon your daily online purchases. So kind of like I was actually going to say that you define that how many purchases you're making a day or a week or something, how many sales.
Right, but this is the time to define it. If we don't define it now, then when are we going to define it?
Yeah, I need to complete that section.
Okay? Now, in addition to that, even though you're alluding to it, summarize what are your business objectives. So what are your objectives here? What are your objectives? Yes or no? So you need to start off the business objectives are, and then you list that. And then based on your objectives, this information must be segregated. And then end off with your project success criteria. All right, remember guys, we are making a business case. We are putting together information that can be used to make business decisions. Very nice. This is well written. Nehal, you know what you need to improve on? You know the information. You need to focus on how to argue your case, how to present it in a manner that it will make an impact. All right? You need to start selling yourself. You know, like you've got to be able to, you know, marketability. Do you understand what I'm getting at, Nehal? Well, you're communicating. It is very clear. The information that you have is right. But what you're lacking is that diva effect, okay? You must make a point. It's like a flat champagne right now. Okay? So you have to, you know how, have you seen all these, the lawyers, how they put together a case, they make their point? Salespeople, right? Same story. You are talking to business units. You are consulting, you are giving them recommendations. You're telling them, this is how you are doing it, this is why we are doing it, this is the perceived value in it. You must make a point. It shouldn't come across as if you're just writing a biography. Alright, so work on that. The information is correct. Typically I have to work on the information, right? But with you, I know the information is correct. You just have to work on your delivery. Even while you are writing it down, impact. Okay? Alright. See, all of this is nice. Now, one of the ways that you can improve on your delivery is use bullet points. While you're using bullet points, the most important point must be listed first. Okay. You can also rephrase this information into more, you know, sometimes less is more, right? So instead of writing so much, you write less, but it has higher impact. Effective writing. All right. Vision statement. Now this one here, guys, all of you, I'm sure all of you have made this. Look at this one first. Look, Nehal. It typically is one line. Okay? Impact. Look at the one for Caterpillar. So revise your vision statement, okay? There are tons and tons of these here. Look at Honda's. In 1970s, this was their vision. So rephrase this a little bit. I think you still have the right essence, but impact, we are missing the impact as I mentioned before. All right? All right. Now, major features. Is login feature a major feature of your website? Neha? No. It need not be here, right? You don't need it. The ability to choose or view our products, is that the major feature? Not the catalog, right? Every website has the same thing, right? What is the major feature? Now you can rephrase this one. Major feature here is that you are able to sell art online, antique art online, right? That people, when you are selling it, that you are selling it globally. See, maybe across continent. So you are selling antique art globally online. Okay, that is your major feature. Next, because you're selling online and you're selling globally, your website also offers shipping services. And when we are saying shipping services, it is global shipping services, right? If you're selling on globally, you'll have to ship globally, won't you? You're also looking at online marketing. Right? It says marketing online, right? So these are your major features. None of these is a major feature. There is no other way to make a secure payment. If you are going to do online, trust me, user requirements, no user will go to an unsecure website and put in their credit card information. That's right, you actually put sub features here. Okay? So I know you understand this section. I just need you, like I said, always look. Remember, you only have those 30 seconds, right? You want to hit the nail when you start, when the iron is hot. You must make your point. Most important, that's right. Okay? Assumptions and dependencies. Case study 1. Now, how many of you read the article where we talked about the ring that Mark Zuckerberg gave to his bride? Anyone read that article? there is a ban on Burmese ruby. We can't, especially in US. You can't buy or sell Burmese rubies in the United States of America. All right? Read through these articles. Now, again, the one that I was referring to, the ring that Mark Zuckerberg gave to his wife has a Burmese ruby. You can go to any of these. I don't know. The first article would also be good.